Call to order the Etna Township Board of Trustees regular meeting here on Tuesday, September 17th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mr. Burkholder?
Here.
Ms. McKee? Here.
Ms. McKee, would you give the invocation, please? Thank you.
Stand if you would bow our heads. Thank you, God, again, another day that you brought us together as a township and as a board and residents. God, we ask you to continue to bless this township. We continue to bless the leaders. Ask you to continue to bless these United States of America and continue to bless our state of Ohio. Lord, we thank you again for allowing us that we can gather here safely. And actually, we can stand together and make some intelligent decisions concerning our township. And we want to bless you and thank you again for allowing this to happen. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? A motion by Ms. McKee. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Burkholder. Discussion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to include discussion on the mosquito contract and application as previously requested, and then also a discussion and possible motion on the Nicholas Weigel reimbursement for tire damage.
Is there a second to the amendment? Hearing none, the motion fails. Any discussion on the main motion to adopt the agenda?
Yes, I just had a question why we aren't abiding by the provision that the draft agenda should be out to the board last Monday. That hasn't been done, I think, except once this year. We need to properly address these agenda items. And also the items aren't being properly listed. They're being hidden under reports routinely. This one, there's motion for equipment purchase and hiring, advertising for hiring road crew that is not listed to the public. I think all documents should be provided to the public to be transparent.
I'll just have a brief comment under discussion. It's been a challenge. This last week was challenging for many of us, including some of our employees. So while I realize that is our goal, Mr. Evans, if you go back to the reorganization meetings, we set that as a goal to accomplish that, and it was also recorded in those minutes that might take some time to implement. So we do try to get it out early, but when we have absences here at work, we'll try to do better. But the agenda is posted, and I'm more than happy to discuss those other items that you've identified. We got that job description and everything together. I thought we wanted to have that at the last moment so that the trustees would have that.
Okay, well, regarding getting the items early, it's not early, it's in amount of time to allow us to properly prepare. Like I said, it hasn't been done except one time. And I know there were challenges this week, but that doesn't explain every other meeting prior. So I know that come October, the second meeting, I think that'll be addressed. But again, these are just items that are pretty basic. Even the sharing information, it should be shared with the public to be transparent.
That's true, and you did update Diligent this afternoon, correct, with some additional documents?
With my items, correct.
Yes. Very good. Do you have anything?
No, I don't.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes,
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
the agenda is adopted. Is there a motion to adopt the corrected minutes from 2024, 7/25, July 25th special meeting minutes? Is there a motion? I'll make a motion to adopt. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yes, once again, these were only provided yesterday. We have not had time to properly go over them. I would actually move to table all these proposed so we have the time to go over them and make sure they're correct, because last time we had to pull back minutes that the board, other members said that they reviewed, but they were full of errors and missing motions. So I think it's important, if this is going to be the official record of the township, that these be correct. And again, being provided these yesterday and not with enough time to properly review them and ensure the errors were corrected, I don't think it's proper to move forward. So I'll move to table all the minutes.
Is there a second? Hearing none, the motion to table fails. Mr. Evans, did you respond to the administrative assistant with the drafts that she forwarded to you as to whether or not the corrections that you submitted to her?
They were not submitted to me until yesterday. I have had communications with Holly, and I was going to be forwarded the questions she had on the minutes. I was never forwarded those questions. I understand that there were challenges this week, but again, I don't understand the rush to do this when it's been proven that there have been errors and even the corrections of them. And I think it's important. The public has access to these, so if they want to see what the draft with potential errors are in there, they are available. However, again, the other two board members said they reviewed the prior minutes and they were full of errors and missing motions.
Well,
and we're going to do it again.
Well, if you're not going to cooperate with getting the corrections to the administrative assistant, I'm sufficiently satisfied that the proper corrections have been made, so I'm going to call the question on the motion to approve the July 25th, 2024 minutes. Roll call, please.
I never received the communication. You're wrong.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the July 24th, 2024 special corrected draft?
So moved.
I'll second. Further discussion?
I move to table these minutes
there a
because
second?
again,
Is there a second to table?
no. And then discussion, again, Mr. Burkholder, you were not correct that I did not cooperate with the administrative assistant. I had numerous exchanges indicating that I would assist, and the last communication was that the questions were going to be forwarded to me, and I never received that communication. So it is not on me that it wasn't done. I understand there were special circumstances, but again, the rush to do this is not about my cooperation or not. I've done nothing but cooperate and try to ensure these are done correctly.
Well, your corrections from the previous meeting were forwarded to the administrative assistant, correct?
And the corrections were incorrect in that they removed motions that you two approved. And if you just casually glanced at it, you would have seen that there were no motions for executive session. So again, I haven't been able to review these. They could be correct, but they could not be correct. And you and Ms. McKee said you reviewed the last minutes, which had all the errors. So I think it's inappropriate that we just shove this through without, again, these were provided yesterday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meetings.
Do you want to say?
Ms. Palumbo.
The corrections that were forwarded to me were very minor, and on the one where they were missing the executive session for the motion, it was simply the public view of the minutes versus the member view of the minutes, and that was what was sent on Monday at 8:30. So that was corrected. Any corrections that Mr. Evans had put on there were corrected.
Okay.
But that's what was stated the previous time.
I'll call the question. So roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Motion passes. Make the motion to approve the June 18th, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Is there a second?
So moved. I'll second, sorry.
Discussion?
Yes, I believe these are the ones that we previously passed. When I say we, not I included, that we had to pull back because of the additional errors on the corrected minutes. Again, I think this is inappropriate to move forward without proper oversight and review.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Motion passes. I'll move to adopt or approve the August 12th, 2024 special corrected minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yes, again, it's inappropriate that these were given just yesterday with 5 other meetings, minutes, and had no opportunity to properly review or prepare.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Minutes are adopted. Is there a motion to adopt the August 20th, 2024 regular draft minutes?
So moved.
I'll second. Discussion.
Again, these were just provided yesterday. There's been no sufficient time to review these, and shoving them through is irresponsible at best.
Is there a motion to table?
Yeah, I moved to table.
I'll second that motion to table. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
No.
These minutes will reflect on the next regular meeting agenda for adoption.
So the August 20th is tabled, correct?
Correct.
That's correct. Those are tabled, and we're going to try to get caught up on all the other minutes that we have outstanding. Public comments at this time. Anyone that wants to come forward, please state your name and address, and please come to the podium and keep your remarks to 3 minutes, and please address the board. Is that microphone? Can you check, Mr. Davis, see if that microphone's on?
We're good.
Thank you.
Ryan Davis, 8807 Watkins Road. I might suggest something I think all of us in the audience might be thinking. Obviously, there's some discussion had about the meeting minutes or any topics like this. I think those would be perfect for work session items. I think the best use of the public's time would be to address some of the other items on the agenda tonight. So spending 15 minutes discussing meeting minutes that have been posted for several months might be a great work session item. And I think there's other things that could be work session items as well. Zoning department, fire report, things like that, I would like to start seeing as reports that could be reviewed by the public and by yourselves before the meetings. So that's just the first couple examples. There's other things as well. I would like to see on the next meeting, I think I've asked this a few times, I would like to see a discussion agenda item for the streaming here in the township. I think it's important that people can review the actions of the board along with the items that are now being provided, which I think this is a great tool right here that more people will use, I think, with time. The other thing I'd like to see an update on as well, I think it was important that resident brought up about the one chemical issue down there on 40. I think there's different things that the zoning department I know is struggling to get to, but I think that's something that would interest the public as well. So I don't know if working with the federal government you'll get a straight answer, but it's something I think would be beneficial as well. So hope you guys have a good meeting tonight. There's a lot of things on here, so let's keep it positive and have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else at this time? Please state your name and address in 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John Hanson, Ridgewood Drive, Etna, Ohio. Well, I think Gary gets to find out what it's like to be one of Mark's ex-wives. All the blame, complaining, and the bickering on Facebook. Mark, there's one serious thing. We totally forgive you. I'm not going to carry it around, for the attack and the suing through the BZA, costing us $28,000 personally to defend that. We forgive you for all that. I'm not going to carry around whatever's eating your insides out. So I am kind of concerned about the constant attacks and smearing on Facebook. It's kind of cyberbullying. It's almost at a level of cancer. It's kind of a metastasized bullying and toxicity. There is one final lawsuit pending, and after all this is settled up, we'll be able to speak freely. I have kind of held back since this started in March, when on the same night Evans was paying $80,000 for the bullying, they decided to go ahead and sue my company. So that's about all I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
You know I'm here.
Yeah.
Smile somebody, will you? There you go.
State your name and address, please.
Joe Wagner, 179 Beechwood Drive, Etna. What have you done? What have you done?
Go ahead, you have 3 minutes, and I'll be happy to comment. As I said, the
Okay, now
format
throw a
will be at the
question.
end. You got 3 minutes, and you have
Okay.
to respond at the, under trustee comments.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but all right.
That's what we followed before, Mr. Evans, so.
That's fine, I don't care. The thing is this. You've known about this for a month. By the way, you did get back to me, but I asked you 3 or 4 times to meet with me. Whatever reasons you couldn't do it, it just didn't happen. I gave you options. Now again, I'm going to tell you, I'm not against you, but you're the head of zoning, so what the heck are you doing? You have no problem going over there and having private meetings with him over here, which you have done, but you're not doing anything. So how citations were given, how many? Did you look at it? No. So according to you, correct me, am I wrong, can I put hazardous chemicals out on my building, out in front of property? Is that allowed? You're not doing anything about it. That's a question, whoever writes this down. Did you give the materials that I gave Roz? Did you get any materials from him?
The ones you gave us last meeting.
You got it from him?
No, I got it directly from you.
The thing is, I asked you.
I have not.
You have not. I asked you to give it to them.
That's right, we made copies, and we also forwarded the previous materials they
Wait a minute,
had.
that's under, don't eat up my time, you already
Okay.
told me. So she didn't get a copy, you didn't get a copy. I asked you to do that. You work for us and these people. You're not doing your job. The fact of the matter is, according to you, I could put hazardous materials out there. I gave you signing issues. You're not doing anything. You got no problem going over there to put your signs up. What gives, Gary? It looks collusionary. That's the way it looks. And I know you better than that. But it looks that way. I could put Lincoln signs around my windows, is that what you're telling me? And you know the difference between signage and, what do you call it, banners. Remember that, Gary?
I do.
Okay, so why are you letting it happen? And you are. I sent you the proof. So you tell me how many citations in a month or a month and a half is zoning written? None. How many times has they visited? I'm not aware of any. Why not? You're the head of zoning, supposedly. Why not? You spend $100-something an hour for these people. What are they doing? And you people, you got hazardous chemicals out there. The residents should be doing this. This could cause chlorine gas. These people should be complaining. It's responsibility to all of us and our families, but you don't seem to give a damn. And to turn around and tell me you're going to have EMA contact Homeland, why didn't you contact them? Looking at your watch is more important to you than
No, it's not. I just want to make sure I give you plenty of time, and I'm fair to you.
I appreciate that.
And I will be happy to answer all those questions under trustee comments, but I will tell you that you have multiple false accusations in your statements.
Name one of them.
So I'll be happy to report that under trustee comments, sir.
When does that happen?
That happens at the end of the meeting. We've followed that practice. Is there anyone else that would like to speak at this time? You have 3 minutes.
Okay, Gary, you can do what you do, but I'm not going to go away. I'm not.
I don't expect you to, but you will give me an opportunity to respond to those at the end of the
respond
meeting.
now. Don't these
I mean,
people have the right to
we're
know?
going to move forward with the township's business rather than having these
But this
extended
is important if you can
conversations.
answer
This isn't
questions for a
township
minute.
business.
So
This isn't township business.
This is about safety.
it will be at the end, and I'll be happy to address it. I'm going to treat everybody fairly here. That's what we did previously.
Gary, I think you're a man of honor, supposedly. Live up to it, okay?
I will answer the questions that you've asked and the statements you've
Politics,
made.
Gary, I know you. Do the right thing for everybody. I'm sitting.
Very good. Road reports? I know, Mr. Evans, you have some road items. Any updates on the Strouser and the treatments that are coming forward?
Yes, the beginning of the road resurfacing is tentatively scheduled for the first week in October. I've got a meeting 10 a.m. Thursday with the Strouser rep and our superintendent. We're going to go review the work that they've been doing, the sealing and repairs to ensure that's adequate for their treatment. And again, that'll be first week of October. I'd ask the administrative assistant to send that out to the listserv. So again, and I believe that's been done, but that only reaches 100 residents. So if you know anybody, let them know. First week in October, there's going to be quite a bit of road resurfacing. Each of the sections should only take a few days. So, and the traffic's going to be maintained. There was something else on the roads.
Palmer repair?
The Palmer repair is done.
Right.
That was, we did have an issue where somebody moved the blockade and drove through it. It doesn't appear that there was any damage to the concrete, but now that is finally repaired properly. It was formally suggested to repair it this way. It wasn't, so unfortunately we had this additional expense of the $4,700. But hopefully moving on, that we'll deal with these properly to save some money. And then, is there anything else on roads? I know, I really think we should have been approving the road hiring last meeting, but are we gonna move to approve posting the road crew opening? Or I'll make a motion to do that.
I'll second that motion. Under discussion, we just actually accepted that resignation at that meeting, so that was one of the reasons we didn't know whether we were going to accept that resignation or some other possible action, which I informed the board of. So yes, any other discussion on the posting for another road department position? Roll call, please.
Move forward and get it done.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And then is the OPWC part of this, or is that part
I
later?
believe we had put that down,
Under new business.
yeah, on B under new business.
Okay.
Anything else on roads? Fire district report, Mr. Evans?
You skipped zoning?
Oh, I'm sorry, zoning, yes. Primary thing is I'm going to make a motion to advertise for the public hearing on the text amendment for ABGB LB text amendment for Tuesday, October 1st, 2024 at 6 p.m. That'll be our next regularly scheduled meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I saw that advertisement was already placed. I know we had this discussion before, that had to wait until we actually approved it
That's
as
correct.
a board. So, I mean, I think it's proper to do that, but
Well,
why is there
I'd
a
be
change?
more than happy to explain. It does take board action. The prosecutor has already stated that in a written opinion to the full board. The reason we placed it today, because if we don't, we're not going to make the 10-day deadline. It has to be advertised 10 days in advance of the meeting. And we checked with the Newark Advocate. If we didn't get it in today by noon, it wouldn't be placed on Friday, so we'd have sufficient time. And I know, Mr. Evans, you were anxious to get these text amendments done, and so that's why you introduced a second one regarding to the GB zoning, which has been forwarded to Lincoln County Planning Commission, which we did make on the 9th. So we're good on that as far as them reviewing that and having recommendations at the end of this month. By following this process, that'll get those text amendments to the board earlier. We'll have a public hearing now because we were already in process on these. They had already gone through zoning, so now they can come the normal process to the board for consideration at a public hearing. Staff has been working diligently, not only internally, the zoning staff, but also with the zoning commission members. There were some changes, some things on the NAICS codes that need to be corrected because there has been an update, which the zoning commission let us know in 2022. So we've got those 6-digit codes. And so staff is now working to make sure all of those changes are incorporated in that so that when it comes to the public hearing, everything will be correct and it can be considered by the Board of Trustees.
Okay, just regarding the process that you stated, that was exactly the same situation that I tried to get things addressed and you blocked it, said
Well,
we couldn't do it.
no.
Mr. Burkholder, this is my time to respond. You spoke at great length there. It was the same thing. I tried to get the notice just in there because there was a deadline. We would have had a meeting and do it. I'm glad we're moving forward, but there's a bit of hypocrisy there. And my question is, did the zoning commission approve to send that to our board?
Yes.
Why haven't we received that? I haven't seen a copy of that.
I'll have to check on that.
I think it's important, especially if we're going to have a meeting on October 1st to again, being able to properly review that. So we could have had it for a week and spent that time because there were quite a bit of changes. So again, the delay in communication was concerning.
Let me explain something now. There's still changes being made on that. So rather than slow it down, because we had to do some actual fine tuning to make sure that the proper sections were there based on what came out of the zoning commission. So I definitely want to get it to us in time. Regarding the issue as far as advertising, I did learn today that if in fact we did not approve this for public hearing, we would withdraw that ad. We would cancel that ad, but we wanted to make certain, given the fact that you insisted that we move this forward quickly, that we at least had that covered. We could have sent it tomorrow, but then we would not have made the October 1st date, and I'm sure it would have been criticized for that.
No,
as well.
it's exactly the same thing. However, I'm confused. You said they sent they voted and they sent it to the board, but there's still corrections.
Absolutely.
How can there be corrections by the zoning commission outside the commission after it's been sent?
There are certain sections that had to be corrected because certain components were left out. It was the presentation that we have to show what we redlined, what was originally there, what we're crossing out, and what we're adding. If you don't want the hearing,
No,
first.
I'm just concerned that the zoning commission's not going to review, just as the issues we've had with the corrections in the minutes, sometimes they're not made correctly by mistake or an accidental deletion, the final document should be reviewed, approved, and that forwarded. Corrections afterwards does not seem appropriate, but.
I understand your point. It's well taken.
And then
do you want to send us to send that back?
Well, I'd like to at least see it.
We can show you
And
exactly
then-
what we're correcting.
And then on another matter, but zoning, the Kennedy billboard. The assertions made up here were just not correct. I didn't know that it was owned by Hanson. However, we did have that hearing, and it was brought out that supposedly the zoning consultant told the applicant that they should apply for a variance.
That's not true.
And that's what was said at the hearing, and that they had not gotten the permit. I had sent the zoning department, including the consultant, last week a request to respond to that concern. I haven't heard anything. I sent again today. I haven't heard anything. I am very concerned if that happened, but more so that I'm not getting any response, especially after the hearing where once again it was brought up that the BZA didn't have any representation because you didn't provide it. So I am very concerned, like others, about what's going on in the zoning department, and it includes, if we lost the case they should be provided what's needed without any further delay. And do you have an update on that of, has that permit been issued?
Yeah, I certainly have an update, Mr. Evans, and I actually read your follow-up email as well regarding, but once again, you like to come here and make accusations that you don't have the facts. That permit has been issued, and because you heard something in the gallery from someone regarding, well, you were told to have an extra variance, that's not true either. I verified the facts. The fact is, when Mr. Kennedy called in, what he was advised was that before we issued the actual sign permit, we wanted to make sure that the permit and the site plan would be consistent with what the BZA variance granted, because it wasn't the same as the original application.
Okay, so then why would not the zoning consultant respond? And seeking information is pretty basic, so obviously you as the supervisor, you saw it, did nothing, had them do nothing.
That's not true. I looked at it again today with your follow-up and for the record, Mr. Evans, you constantly bombard the office, staff, myself, with all, do you need a response? Sure you do. But once again, you were basing it on false information. As it pertains to that case is still pending, so I'm not going to comment. I know you want to make accusations if the case is lost. I already know where you're going. That's what you do. It's always somebody else's fault. But that case has not been decided, and I'm not going to comment on the case. I've answered your question. The permit was issued. I talked to Mr. Hanson 2 or 3 different times. I explained to him exactly what we were doing. Mr. Kennedy was out on vacation. We made contact with him. He said when he came back, and Mr. Hanson knew this actually at the hearing, if he wants to attest to it later, he will. And I said as soon as we can match that up so that we have a record on file that we have a site plan consistent with the variance that was granted, we will issue that permit. And we issued it to Mr. Hanson in person. I believe, I want to verify, but I think we also emailed it, or you gave a copy to Mr. Kennedy so that they could proceed.
And what would have been nice is a response from that zoning consultant or
I understand.
someone in the zoning department after a simple question that it was brought up, and you want Mr. Hanson to attest to it. Mr. Hanson's the one that stated that he was told to seek a variance. So all I did was ask a question, but again, there's no communication or follow-through under your supervision. That's the problem.
Okay. You've made that very clear every meeting, and you're going to continue to make it clear. But you have your answer now. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
What do we vote?
No, this is just, we just did a report,
The hearing.
the hearing. Oh, okay, so you want to, for the 10-day, yeah, the text amendment hearing?
Right.
Okay.
We're like way.
Yeah, because it threw us off, yeah, okay.
Why, is there a reason that we're having it on the 1st if we still don't have that information? Isn't that pretty soon? Shouldn't we have that on the 15th?
We hope to have that finished up by the end of the week, by Thursday.
With the record of follow-through and communication, I think that's too soon.
Okay. So
You've had it a week and we still don't have it.
So when do you?
Withdraw the whole thing.
So when do you want to have it, Mr. Evans? We're under discussion.
The 15th?
Move to amend.
Okay.
Mr. Evans?
I move to amend the hearing to the 15th.
Okay, then we will pull the ad. Is there a second? On the
Second for
amendment?
discussion, because the ad has to be, 10 days prior to?
Yeah, so we'll change it. Is there a second
I'll second.
to the amendment?
Yeah. I'll
Roll call on the amendment.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Now, on the main motion under discussion, I'll ask that we pull that ad and we'll re-advertise. Any further discussion on the main motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Mr. McKee?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Wait a minute.
Oop.
So the main motion is to advertise 10 days ahead.
No, that's not the motion. That's a requirement, but the discussion was why we advertised to get it over there in time.
And to set the date for October 15th.
So the date was the 1st, we amended that to the 15th, so the motion as amended passes to have the hearing on the 15th. So we will re-advertise, we'll contact the advocate, we'll pull that and we'll re-advertise it.
Okay.
Very good. Fire district?
Yes, the fire district meeting packet was forwarded to the board on September 9th. For August, the stats reported fires 15, good intent calls 49, EMS runs 578, service calls 27, false alarms 43, and hazmat incidents 11. All those numbers are slightly down from the previous month. The Light Pack 35s were delivered to the district. It's the first district in Ohio to have those. They're clinically advanced monitors, defibrillators that have priority tools in that can communicate and give information to not only the EMS on scene, but to the hospital directly. It's pretty amazing technology. Each unit's about $60,000. They are expensive, but it's part of the training and life-saving that they're able to provide. Right now, everybody's just being trained on those, so eventually they will be implemented. We were alerted to there was a recent rescue involving a car that went off-road. The occupant had to be extricated, and due to the training and quick response, the doctors in the hospital said that the woman's life was saved because it was addressed within 17 minutes. So there was another incident with the house fire, the use of the thermal locators and the quick response of the crew again. They were able to locate the individual inside, pull him out. Unfortunately, due to other complications, he didn't survive, but it shows that the great amount of training that goes on really pays off. We even have extensive training at our center over there where other agencies come in and want to be part of that. So we've got a really good district, and I think they serve us well. We're also pursuing additional methods to increase our Medicaid and Medicare reimbursement for when EMS runs are made in that. Typically, the reimbursement amounts aren't that much, but through this other program, if we can get it started, that can be increased. So we're looking to increase any kind of funding like that. The next regular scheduled meeting is Thursday, October 10th at 6 p.m.
Very good, thank you. Old business, I'll make a motion to pay the expenses to Management Advisory Group. They had additional costs which were expenses, not part of the original contract, and that motion includes for advertising $984.83.
I'm sorry, dear, I didn't get them out.
$984.83 for advertising, and background checks were $440.31. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We also, I asked the fiscal officer to have a purchase order ready for that as well. And then they also had part of their final expenses upon the selection of a candidate. Now, we had approved those monies ahead of time, but these were in addition to that. So I wanted to make sure we got them timely paid.
Now, the advertising fees and background checks, are you saying those are the only fees sought, or there's some other ones?
It's the only ones I know of at this time.
Okay, and those were actually part of the contract, not the cost, but they were included in the contract that we would bear that expense. So.
Correct.
But you only approved 18,500.
Right.
That was the base fee. Do we have an itemized list of the advertising fees and background checks, or?
Do not. We have the invoice.
I mean, they seem reasonable for what it was, but I think maybe in the future, if we do get invoices like this, having a little more detail would be helpful.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Mr. McKee?
New business. Discussion on diligent implementation status. Is there a motion for discussion?
Wasn't that approved for the agenda, that we're going to have the discussion? So would we need a motion to discuss?
Well, do you want to discuss it or not?
Yeah, I just want to bring it up. Again, I think we could move through things a little smoother if we took the time to get a draft agenda prior, work through it the way it's supposed to be, and even sign in. Mr. Burkholder, we've asked repeatedly, sent you numerous emails requesting you to even get into the system. You have not. I think it's important that everyone get on board and participate in this. I think those kind of things are what's causing us to have these kind of delays. And once we can kind of roll this out, I think would be best for all. And to kind of touch on the streaming concern, I had tried to get that through a few times before, the security system, cameras, and that wasn't done. But with this, it's anticipated that we can bring in the streaming service and integrate it with the system. So that's another reason I think we really need to work on this. And the one thing that, again, I go through there, things are placed where the public can't see them, and I've asked repeatedly that before these go out and approved, let me go through them and work with the administrative assistant to make sure it's correct and not change what we're dealing with that, but make sure it's set up correct and it's not being done. So I think that, you know,
That's not being done.
it's being input in there and then sent out. There's no, hey Mark, you know, we've got the draft in there. How's it look? Any corrections? Like I said before, the executive sessions were in members only sections that shouldn't be, and that I brought it up in meetings numerous times, Mr. Burkholder, and that's where I think we could do better. Again, things like the road department, the motion advertised had the road crew final document, but that was in a section that isn't published to the public. Again, all I'm asking, and that's where with proper planning and time management, if you would get the drafts in earlier, we can work through that, not last minute trying to shove it through and then just get it out to the public and it's not correct or not formatted correctly.
How quickly was your documents submitted tonight, this afternoon?
No. There were a couple documents.
Okay.
And that was the fire district report, because we had the
Okay.
fire district meeting on Thursday, and I let the board know that.
Okay,
But the other documents, the OPWC,
right.
was well before. So if you, trying to put it on me,
And
I've been the one that's been providing all the documentation, trying to help even the administrative assistant of what can I help, not, hey, can you print this for me, taking time away from other stuff that you need to. The main point is, Mr. Burkholder, you refuse to even participate in the system.
What-
You've been sent numerous requests and you ignored all of them.
No, I haven't ignored them. In fact, I discussed that today with the administrative system. Where do you stand as far as the implementation for the BZA and the zoning commission? Are they on there too?
They have access, however, discussing with them, they want to wait until we fully roll out and then they'll go
Is there
in it. So that's where we need to get this moving, and I have every confidence that once the administrator comes on and I could deal with her, we can get that going, but it's a shame we haven't been able to get it to this point.
Well, I just wish you'd have a little empathy for staff, for the employees, for.
Mr. Burkholder, I do, and
Never
as I said,
mind.
I understand the last week's thing. However, this has been going on all year, and you have failed to give the administrative assistant even the draft items to be able to include in there. And even with that, I can help. You even reached out to me before
Yes, I
saying,
did.
hey, can you? But then you didn't even respond to me with the information. So this hasn't been an ongoing issue. I think it'll be resolved after October 7th. However, for the next meeting,
You've made.
let's try to do it right. And please sign into the system.
Fine, Mr. Evans. Item B, engineer's request for OPWC 2024 grant application. Mr. Evans.
Yes, this was provided to the board last week. After reviewing the road condition and the various areas, I am recommending that we apply for the OPWC for Etna proper with the alleys, both east and west. Do the conditions. This, again, the eastern portion, which is the larger portion, was the one that the 2021 board approved to seek and then just failed to. So I think it's ripe. I think we have a good shot at doing that, especially with we have to provide our 5-year outlook in that we can show them that we are actively engaged in preserving and maintaining our roads. So the funds that are given to us, if we are awarded this, will be used wisely and will benefit our residents for quite some time. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I do. What about Cumberland Chase? Wasn't that applied for previously?
That was applied for last year and was denied.
Right.
Those road conditions, they're kind of split. Some were installed a little earlier and some were installed a little later. Those roads are in much better condition than here in Etna proper. And additionally, I had those marked as the microsurfacing for the worse off section, if you want to say, for Cumberland Chase, because we shouldn't go by just age or what, it's the actual condition, how they're holding up in that, and the microsurface will be able to extend that useful life for 6 to 8 years at a fraction of the cost, where these, if we're moving forward with the Pike Street project, I think in line that will be wise to do that with that, to show, again, with OPWC, this is what we're doing in the area, this is why it makes sense to do the adjacent streets. And if you've driven those, or if you've looked at the dashboard, where anybody, even the residents, can just go on and just see the video of the streets and the condition, they are in bad condition.
So what streets are you proposing in that proper?
All streets and alleyways, and I have it again here, the questions as part of the application process, to ask the engineer's opinion on, a lot of times when you redo the streets, you'll mill it, you'll do a chip seal, and then you'll do like an 1.5 inch overlay. Well, that might not be needed for the alleys, so we might be able to get away without that. So I've asked him to provide his expert input on that. But essentially, it would be all the streets. The eastern section, if I remember correctly, was $274,000 just for the eastern section when they applied or they didn't apply when they approved to apply on election day, just for that section.
When will construction take place?
Next year.
Well,
This is for the following year.
I understand that, but my question is, I have concerns. I don't mind getting the estimates, but if we're going to be redoing the park in 2026, we're going to have all this construction traffic on Pike Street. I don't know that we want to pave these next year when the following year, I think it's more prudent to tie in that resurfacing in the following year when we're going to be finishing up, because you're going to have heavy equipment and stuff coming through here working on a variety of things. For example, if you're talking Liberty Street, I'd hate to get that repaved, and then when we start doing construction, if we move forward with the High Point Park, and then also tying that in as far as the alleys and what they're going to do with the multi-use path coming up through some of the alleys, I think it'd be more prudent maybe to do that micro resurfacing. Does that qualify for OPWC?
No, it does not, and you could, on that condition of road, you cannot do microsurfacing.
Okay.
Microsurfacing is for roads that are...
No, I'm talking about Cumberland Chase. You talked
Cumberland Chase next year. My plan was next year for Cumberland Chase to be microsurface as part of the overall plan.
Does microservicing qualify for OPWC?
It does not.
It does not,
Neither
okay.
does the chip and seal and that, it's mill and fill. But regarding the park here, any construction project, you manage the egress to it. You don't just allow them at every angle, just tear up everything and that. It's perfectly acceptable to have it done from pipe or have it, but again, if you've looked at the condition of these roads and if you want to wait till after that, you're looking at 2027. And again, these were roads that were proposed to be part of the OPWC in 2021. They were so bad.
I'm looking at 26. 26 is what's proposed for Pike Street, and we're trying to match that up with anything that we do with the park. So if you applied in 25, then that would be, I'm all for getting the estimates, but this is not an approval to automatically apply to OPWC. That'll have to come back to the board, correct?
Correct. And my suggestion is working with the administrator on this to get her input and work with her to actually apply for this. One of the things is the timeline, that you need quite a bit of information and specifically from the county engineer, so that's why I provided this list. I really don't think that you're going to want Pike Street and these streets being done at the same time. As far as bike paths through alley, that alley is 10 foot wide or whatever, 12 foot wide. That is a bike path. That is, if it just turns right into it. But the bike paths that you're talking about we're running down Pike Street. So any street you can just turn off. They're not heavily traveled streets, and I don't know if there's another location. But again, we're addressing a lot of the main ones this year with Strouser, that instead of just mill and fill, that we can extend the life, and then eventually those could be part of PWC. But to put Cumberland Crossing, I think, was premature last year.
Do we have our 5-year capital improvement plan yet for the roads?
It will be part of this, but I have the plan kind of mapped out of what neighborhoods should be crack sealed, which one should be microsurface, the Cape Seal and all that. I could bring that to the board, but that also can change because if some roads deteriorate a little bit higher due to traffic or use or weather and that. But again, looking at this, and I don't know if the board's looked at the roads, looked at the dashboard and that, I think this is the most appropriate.
I'm going to support it. I just want to have conversation and reserve the right to, I think it's important to have timing, so I agree talking to the engineer, but also conferring with our consultants, because when we do Pike Street, it'd be nice to get all of this freshened up at the same time. In addition to that, the board needs to consider we're going to be losing our handicap parking out here in the Pike Street construction. So kind of foreshadowing, we need to start having discussions of how we're going to provide for handicap parking once Pike Street is completed, and how we're going to tie that into Town Hall, because the handicap parking out here makes no sense.
And one of the things that we can do is, if we do get approved for it, we can just not do a section, say if we want Liberty Street, and that, and just reduce that from the amount of the ward. But
Ms. McKee, do you have any comments, questions?
Well, I mean, I know we discussed the handicap, and with us owning this property right here, I know one of the things we talked about before with the engineer's firm with the Pike Street project is moving parking over here. Because we do own this property behind us. So that would make sense. There's a door for the handicap, so it would make a lot of sense.
I would be supportive of that. Any further questions or discussion?
what I just want to say, the Pike Street project doesn't move the handicap over there. It eliminates that. We would have to do something with it, but
And
that's not
that's
part of the
okay.
project.
Yeah, we know that, Mr. Evans.
Okay, well, it was
That's
just
not
presented.
the point, it's the
Yeah, we're just
solution.
making it clear.
We have to have a solution with that. We're well aware of that. That's why we're talking about it now, rather than waiting a year or two from now and then having to try to figure it out then. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item C, Mr. Evans.
Yes, where's that one?
I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, I move to approve resolution 2024-045, resolution requesting prosecutor opinion.
Regarding?
That was sent earlier, but
Yeah,
here's.
well,
and
what's
that
it
was-
regarding? Why don't you read it right from the agenda? What's this an opinion
Well,
on?
this is an opinion regarding, as stated here, the Etna Township's Board of Trustees' ability to remove and replace the Etna Township appointee, Trent Stepp, and whether Etna Township Board of Trustees is standing to challenge the planned filing of Southwest Licking Community Water and Sewer District's proposed amendment filing of their 1995 organizational petition with the Licking County Court of Common Pleas. And it states that all documentation is required by the prosecutor is contained in Exhibit A, and Mark Evans shall be the lead contact on this matter until the Township Administrator, Susan Betzold, is on board.
I'll second the motion for discussion.
This was discussed previously on August 20th. We approved a motion to seek the opinion. However, the prosecutor is required either approved minutes if a motion's done or a resolution. The minutes have not been approved, so I put that in resolution form. Same thing I did before with the resolution seeking an opinion on the tire damage reimbursement.
Ms. McKee, you got any comments or questions?
No, I don't.
What,
And this is just for an opinion.
is this going to court?
What do you mean going to court?
What, well, has the petition been filed with the Licking County, is it called?
No, not yet. Mr. Roberts sent out an update today stating that their continued intention to file it with the court. Again, I don't believe we should wait until it is done to see what our rights are. I'm still very concerned about the district's resources and effort being diverted to Jersey Township, where the administrator was also a consultant for the district. So I think we need to get this approved to see what our options are. And again, the motion was approved on the August 20th meeting. This is just to allow that opinion to go on, because I don't know when we'll have the minutes approved from the 20th.
Well, I don't have any problem with getting the prosecutor's opinion relative to the Water and Sewer District's desire to expand the district, but I do not feel comfortable moving forward with the section here regarding the removal and replacement of the Southwest Licking Community Water and Sewer appointee at this time. And I'll be quite frank, Mr. Evans, I don't feel comfortable with that as far as making you the lead person on that at this time. I think this is something I would feel comfortable maybe readdressing when the township administrator comes in, but I don't feel comfortable at this time. So I'm going to make the amendment that we modify or rescind the motion that was made on August 20th, and that we modify this resolution to include only the prosecutor's opinion on the options that the township has regarding the attempt by the Water and Sewer District, meaning the Licking County or the Southwest Licking Community Water and Sewer District's attempt to add Jersey Township to the district, and remove the removal and replacement of the Southwest Licking Community Water and Sewer appointee, to remove that language at this time, only to be revisited later. Is there a second to that amendment?
I'll second to that.
There's a second to that amendment. Discussion.
Yes, I think it's unwise that you refuse to even get an opinion if you can remove an appointee, especially with all the concerns and everything going on. And I do recall even your campaign promises to hold
I
the
know.
water, Mr. Burkholder, to hold the water district accountable day one. And you have done nothing for 9 months. And this is about accountability, because even the Pataskala rep has stated she has felt misled, and the actions of Mr. Stepp on that board, diverting everything there, hiring the conflicted consultant who's also the administrator of Jersey Township, guaranteeing water to him. It goes on and on. And I'm not saying remove, but get our legal opinion if we can, and how. It makes no sense to me why you wouldn't get this information. Again, it's a complete opposite of what you ran on.
That's fine, Mr. Evans. You have your opinions.
It's backed.
Roll call on the amendment, please.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes,
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
I have a question.
yes.
So this is no good.
It'll have to be modified.
Right.
Well, we just strike out A, right?
Let me go pull it back up again.
Well, it's more than A, because it's.
I would do it all over and just make sure all that's in there that.
We'll clean it up.
Hold you guys
Yeah.
tomorrow to get it signed.
Well, yeah, we'll have to have it cleaned
So
up
what,
first. and
Mr.
then
Burkholder,
sign.
there's a copy right here in
Yeah,
front of you. So
yeah.
how do you want to modify that?
No, Mr. Evans, you've heard the amendment. You put this piece together. Yeah, take A out, remove A.
Okay,
That's fine.
that's what I said.
And number 3. It says trustee.
So you don't want me to be the contact.
We'll wait till the new administrator, let them be the contact.
So we don't want to do anything until after
It's October 7th.
October
Yeah.
7th, so
Right.
let's delay more.
Right.
No, I'm not going to delay more, Mr. Evans, but I do, well, you can, the problem with the contact is the prosecutor has a problem with that too, the way this board has communicated with them, because you have inundated them with constant barrage of even minor questions, which is now why we have to follow
No,
with
I'm the
resolutions.
one that came up with the template to help her.
That's exactly right.
And the issue has been, Mr. Burkholder, that you have sent requests without the provided information, and you have shown a lack of follow. Even our own attorney is frustrated and looking forward to an administrator. So that's why we had no BZA representation.
That's not true.
You
Mr.
fail to communicate time and time again.
Mr.
And when
Evans.
somebody tries to do something, you say, no, only I can do it, but yet you don't do it.
Mr. Evans, your constant attacks do nothing to forward this town.
It's facts.
It's constant attacks. No, it's not.
Did you provide that
It's not.
chemical
No,
information
it's
to me?
not.
No. It's been a month, 3 meetings.
I know we made copies of it. I don't
You
know if
claim
checked
to
the
have given
box
it to
or
me in a
not.
folder.
So,
You repeatedly
Evans,
fail.
you're out of order. You're an obstructionist. Enough is enough. All you want to do is come into these meetings and argue.
I'm transparent. I expose the facts.
Yes, you do. You sure do.
So can we make like Roz or?
No, we'll go
No,
with,
we'll just
we'll go
wait.
with it as it is. So I'm going to call roll call, and Mr. Evans will have to report back to the board on, and then once the administrator gets here, the administrator will
Okay.
take care of this.
And I would like to clarify that per
No,
the proper procedure, every board member is supposed to be included. So when that last resolution went to the prosecutor, the board should have been included, they were not. So what I would do is, as required, and I
think
do,
the fiscal officer should
please,
be-
as I do, everybody will be updated because everybody's included when I did it before. So there's no change in what I'm doing, and I'm trying to make sure it's done
Okay.
properly.
Enough's enough.
Oh,
I'm going.
Wait, I want to have a
You go
comment
ahead.
because
You go ahead.
everything's proper with him and everybody else is wrong. So, under that resolution, under A, he wants to replace and remove Mr. Trent Stepp.
No, get a legal opinion if we can
Legal opinion.
replace.
Okay, legal opinion. And then under 3, Trustee Evans shall be the lead contact. So you want to keep that part there, Mr. Burkholder. You're saying we should keep that?
No, no,
I
I take it you do not.
No, no way.
I'm going to agree with you, and in fact,
No way.
I'm going to vote no against this at this time because there's been enough attacks by, I do agree that we need to know what's going on as far as trying to expand the board, but I think there's been enough conflict and chaos created by Mr. Evans against numerous people. And until I have more time to consider that, so I'm going to vote against this resolution.
Okay, and again, another campaign promise to
That's fine.
Stop with the
hold
campaign
the
promise,
water and
Mr.
sewer district accountable, he flips on.
Please stop with the
Mr.
campaign
Evans,
promise.
you're more
Let's
than
move on. This is
welcome.
our township. We
You're
need to
more-
move
This,
on and take
this
care of
affects our
business.
residents.
You're more than welcome to have your opinion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
No.
Ms. McKee?
No.
Resolution fails. Item D, Mr. Evans.
No.
Yes, the public record responses, again, they're not being followed properly. I had requested of the board the information on the chemical concerns that were given to us on August 20th. Mr. Wagner gave the information to Mr. Burkholder, said please give the other board members. That was not done. Mr. Burkholder claimed he did give it to me in a folder. He did not. I had to file a public records request for it. I still have not seen it, but I did see communication with the consultant we're paying to respond to my request. And my question is, are we paying her additional fees where you're not just simply providing a board member
No,
documentation?
that was not concerning your request.
It was. I've got the email.
No, that wasn't your request. We've got the information. It's right in the town hall. Be more than happy to make you a copy of it. We had the photographs. That's what you wanted, right?
Whatever, I don't know what he handed to you because I haven't seen it. He asked you to give Ms. McKee and myself
He handed us two different
that,
sets of
and you
documents.
have failed to do it. I had to do a records request, but my question is,
Let's
my
go.
question is, there's an email from the records consultant responding to you about my request. Is she being paid additional sums for that when it should be for the organization of the records?
It's the organization of the records, but it also to help us catch up with other requests that we have for.
But why would you ask her to respond to my request for a document you claim to have given me, didn't, and that you should just give to me?
No.
After a month.
I did not request that from her.
It's right in the email.
What's it say?
It addresses Mr. Hansen's
Yeah, it's theirs.
and mine.
It's not yours.
It
It might
specifically
have been a word from
states.
the previous thing.
No.
It wasn't about the chemical thing.
It dealt with the press release that, again, you withheld, and also,
No, I didn't.
yeah.
Okay, I have no comment. I'll get you those records. If they're not in your box, we'll make copies. They're up there on the board in the other room.
Can't we do what's right? Can't we just
That's fine, Mr.
communicate, follow through?
That's why we're
That's
trying,
been the entire
that's why
issue.
we're trying to get the public records request up to date.
No, but we're
Mr.
dealing with our vendors are complaining, residents are complaining, even our attorney has complained.
Which attorney?
You know,
No, I want an answer for now, because you.
No,
keep
you
having- No, you, I'm holding you accountable, Mr.
You-
Which attorney?
you know.
Which attorney? No, I
You
don't.
know.
I've talked to the attorneys. Which attorney?
Yeah.
You continue to make false accusations.
They're not the prosecutor.
I've talked to outside counsel, so
No.
which attorney?
Mr. Burkholder.
There you go again. That's it.
When everybody's looking forward to the administrator starting so they can get a response,
You've
that is why
weaponized-
you didn't even have the BZA represented. And can we waive attorney-client privilege on that?
No,
Yeah, you don't want that out.
the case is pending.
Well, afterwards.
Yeah, well,
It's shocking the lack of
That's the other word.
inability and non-action and non-response that
okay,
is
Mr. Evans.
affecting this township.
Yes, we may.
Thank you.
Jed and Jed's appointments, Ms. McKee.
Yes. Okay, let me pull that back up here. appointees. Looks like there are, we'll start with the JED.
Yeah, I've
We'll do
got
those first.
I've got a list
And we
too.
have a list here, and John Carlisle, expiration on the JED 1. And on
Do we have a printed list?
Yes, it's right in your package there. And then John Carlisle on JED 2.
Okay, I don't have,
You don't have this?
I have financials and the
It was
emergency
a part of the
thing.
package,
It's
Mr.
in the
F. Did you print it? We printed it. It's in
Let
there.
me, if I may.
This was the only thing.
If I may interject, we're not making it, we're going to post it on the listserv and anyone that's on that, and also on the website, the openings that we have on the JEDs and also on the JEDZs. And these are varying terms, and we had to do some research as to when those terms began and ended, because the list that I got from Reynoldsburg had from 2020 to 24, which wasn't actually correct. The terms are staggered, so we wanted to make sure, and we don't have all the appointments
Oh,
on
yeah.
those. The cities have some too.
Right,
And
well, I
so-
was gonna start with just JED,
Go ahead.
JED 1, the JED,
JEDZs?
no, just the JEDs first.
JEDs, okay.
Because there's three that's gonna expire. For JED 1, we have one that's gonna expire, which is Mr. John Carlisle for the township.
That's correct.
And then on the JED 2, Mr. John Carlisle for the township expires as well.
Yes,
And then on the JED 3, Mr. John Carlisle's for the township expires as well. And then down on the JED 7, one of the owners, Mrs. Jackie Cantuno, or Jackie Katz now, hers expires. I'm sorry, Cantuno, which expires as well on 2024. So those are the 4 that we need to post on the serve.
and we also have some
So I'm gonna
on
move on to the JED. Yeah.
Okay, JED
There's
Z.
one- Yeah, there's a JED Z, and I believe there's only, let me confirm this, I wanna make sure I have that.
Is there a way to print off the list?
You should have that.
There's a PNG, but it doesn't contain, is that what you're talking about?
That's the file she's talking about,
Yeah.
that spreadsheet.
And under the Zone 2, which is a JED Z, my term expires October 19, 2024. So that's the only ones under the JED Z Zone 2.
Now, what about alternates?
Alternates, well, we know that we had the one alternate for, what was his name? Chuck LaRosa was an alternate that never participated as an alternate because we never
Well,
had to use them.
That's the question on the alternate.
But we
You
never
appointed
use them.
Mr. LaRosa, but Mr. LaRosa claimed he was never appointed. I had asked repeatedly about it and has never been given an answer.
Yeah, well,
So is he a
was
member or is he
appointed.
not?
He was
Well-
appointed, but we never had to use him, just like we never had to use the appointees on the other boards.
No, he claimed he was never appointed.
I understand,
Okay, we're not
Mr.
going back and
Evans,
forth with
and
that,
I
Mr.
believe
Evans.
that he chooses to withdraw from there, but I'll have to confirm that with him. That's been going on for months, back and forth. Was he, we can clear that up
You
and
can
see
watch
if he,
social media and see
if
why a lot of
that,
that
if
is
that'll
back
be a
and forth.
vacancy or not.
I'm sorry, Mr. Burkholder?
I'm just saying, we can clear that up with him
Yes.
if he wishes to continue to serve. So we'll get a posting on that. So anyone, as we said we would previously, anyone that wants to apply for one of those positions will be able to do so.
And those are the only ones, just to be clear that the JED Z Zone 1 and Zone 2, they alternate. The one expires October 2024, and then the JED Z 1 expires in September 2025. So they kind of rotate back and forth. So, but yeah. So
And do we have a
the one
list
on
of-
Zone 2.
And do we have a list of appointees?
You should have that list,
Oh,
Mr. Evans. It is a public
If-
record. And if you
Please,
need a
please
copy-
wait till I finish my question. Do we have a list of appointees with their prior service? Because I believe under some or all of the agreements that they can't serve more than 2 in a row.
That's correct.
So does Mr. Carlisle, yourself, or anyone meet any of those where they cannot be reappointed?
No, it's only on a particular one, and those are under the policies in the contract, which Mr. Burkholder, I believe you sent that to us this week in our email.
I did reach out to
Chris Shook.
legal counsel Chris Shook for the city of Brownsburg to get some clarification, because I believe, if I'm correct, in the past, there was even confusion with those boards. I know Laura Brown worked to try to get those
Yes,
terms
she
because they
did.
were staggered. There is some
Yes.
language in there that you can't serve more than 2 terms. However, some of those initial terms were less than a full 4-year term. I believe Mr. Carlisle, for example, was reappointed to some of these JEDs in 2022. So it says he served from 2020 to 2024, but that might have been two different resolutions.
It was.
So we've been working to try to sort that out so we know exactly who can reapply again and who might have already served those 2 terms. I don't know if there's clarifying language regarding if it has to be a full term, 2 full terms, or a partial and a full. But with 5 JEDs and 2 JEDSIs, there's a lot of bookkeeping to see who's up and whether they
Right.
can be
And-
considered again.
Yes, you're right, Mr. Burkholder. Just as he's mentioned, Laura Brown worked very hard to make sure that these were being covered with the deadline dates. We also worked with our legal team, Alberts and Alberts, together, and we came up with the list. And so we are comfortable that the list is correct. Mr. Carlisle was appointed to some of those boards because of his history with, and we did not remove him because of the fact that his term did not expire. So now that his terms are going to expire, that's what we're going to try to figure out which way the board wants to go with those.
First, I'd like to say that we haven't had a full list and counting of this. That's been part of the problem, but one of the things that I think is important, and I pointed out previously that wasn't followed, is one of the seats is supposed to be appointed from a nomination list of at least 3 from the businesses within the district.
That is correct, I read that.
That's been ignored, and the trustees just appoint. I think we need to get clarification on that if they're not going to or refuse, because what was done previously is after they appointed, then they sought that of permission of you guys to just appoint. So I think we need to make sure we do it appropriately. And when are we looking to, you said we're gonna advertise this. I think we need sufficient amount of time. I mean, these boards meet quarterly. I think they just met, so I'd say at least 45 days out to get applications.
Our next meeting is in November.
So we want to go ahead and advertise that now.
Yeah.
It won't be advertised in the paper.
But no, to get it out to the public, you say the list served, that's 100 people.
I understand.
And-
Well,
and-
Mr. Evans, you're more than welcome to put it on your
No, but I'm saying we
website.
can't do this Mr. Burkholder, these are serious matters. And actually, if we would have had a social media account for the township,
I knew you'd
it'd be
do
a lot
that.
easier to do it. Yeah, it's another failure.
Well,
But however, I'm trying to make sure that with the limited availability to get information out, that we have enough time. So I would say at least into after the second meeting, and what would be the first meeting in November? Have all the applications and we can interview.
Well, I don't have a problem with that. Some of these terms will expire prior to that. My question is, do you have a list of the owners in the respective districts?
Well, Jet 7 is Skinell. That's easy, and you can,
What about the other ones?
we should have,
And Jackie was in there.
and again, that should be part of the information that we don't have, or if we do, we
Right.
don't know where it is because we don't have working file systems.
Mr. Evans, we're painfully aware of the problems and what we need to do. But that's where we have to work together cooperatively rather than constantly criticize on every single thing. You have no idea what takes place in that office on a daily basis, the number of walk-ins we have, the technical reviews, the major zoning issues, the reorganization.
I'm quite aware of the work that's
No, you're
done,
not.
the work that's
No,
not done.
You are not, sir.
And, yes, I
No,
am.
you're not. You're not
Yeah.
in the office. You
Yeah.
don't know.
Yes,
No,
I.
you
And I
aren't.
want to be clear on, when.
Can we just set a date that is
Well,
open until the
let's-
first meeting
let's
in
hear it.
November?
Yeah, just so you know, Mr. Evans, Jackie is an owner. That's why she was put on that board. So I don't want you to mislead the public.
She's an owner?
She's an owner, and yeah, exactly. She owned a business over there. So that's why she was chosen. That
Business
seat.
where?
We own a building in Etna Parkway.
Within that, okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay.
So we follow the rules, just so you know.
No, that's one of, believe me, I went around this with, and I've got the opinions from Alberts and Alberts trying to explain it, so this is about doing it properly.
Please share those with the board then, Mr. Evans. Okay, what date, what do we have on the calendar for a date to?
I think you ought to do it by the 2nd.
That's too soon. And then we've got the
Wait,
public hearing on the second meeting of October.
our terms are up October 24th.
We could go November 5th.
Is that our next meeting?
Next meeting in
When's
November.
the next
Well,
JED?
our
Do you
JED
know?
meeting is in November.
Do you know the date?
It's the 17th.
On a Sunday?
No,
It's
sorry,
not
hold on.
weekend.
Is that
Friday.
Friday? Yeah. So it would be the 15th. Yeah. So we can,
And that could be pushed back, or that can, I think it's important
is it
to,
22nd?
No, that meeting can't be
Oh, that's
pushed
right, we
back.
lined it up with the other, so we want them all to be.
No,
at the
that
same
meeting
time.
can't be pushed back, so have the applications in by what date?
if
Or the-
November 5th, you got till the 22nd then.
Yeah.
22nd?
If the meeting's the 22nd of November, and
Is it
we
the
say
22nd
the
or-
Yeah,
applications,
this is 22nd.
Okay.
You're
applications,
going to be able to.
applications need to be in by
interview
November
and
1st.
hire somebody for the JEDs for the 22nd.
Applications should be in by end
November.
of business, or 5 PM November 1st, and then we can deal with
It's not
interviews
really
and
an
that the 5th.
application process, it's just a resume, you send your resume
And a
or email.
letter of interest. I'd
I mean-
rather have a document.
In the past, there's been no
We understand, Mr.
anything and
Evans.
just picked,
So moved, have those in. We will advertise, we will put it out there November 1st by 5 PM for consideration to appointment to one of the JED or JEDCs.
That's election day, November 5th, just so you know. If you're talking about interviewing people, that meeting on the 5th is on election day.
That's right, like
presidential
last
election
year.
day.
So we won't be doing that.
Why not? We
So it just might
we
be
had
hard
a
for
meeting
you to
last
follow
election.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I don't think you're going to.
It's not a good time to do that, it's just not, it's just, yeah.
Most people vote in the morning and they're.
I'll rescind that, I'll rescind that
Sign
motion.
on, Mr. Burkholder, please. Since we're running this meeting, Mr. Burkholder, whatever you
Just
want.
have a special meeting the 7th.
Whatever you want us to do, Mr. Burkholder, I support it.
Okay, well, let's work that over rather than making a rash decision tonight and have conflicts. But we will get it out there that those are open, so.
Okay, thank you.
JED payment of the insurance, I think we're gonna need a motion for that. We had there's insufficient funding
Yes,
to cover that
Yes.
insurance. The fiscal
Well-
officer has prepared
yes,
the
well,
necessary.
yes. It's, those jets don't make enough money to pay out. So the way the contract is written, those other responsibilities have to be paid out first. So the way our contract is set up, we will pay and then we'll be reimbursed. So that's for the insurance. So you have
And
that
it's
on there?
already passed.
It's already, thank you.
On
Yeah,
what
we went through
jets?
this last year, so
All the
it's
jets.
normal, it's how it's all the jets, yeah.
But JED 2,
They're all the
They're all
jets.
set up like
We
that in
have
the
to pay their
contract.
bills, and they reimburse
We've
us.
been through this last year, it's nothing
In the
changed.
contract for the jets.
Exactly what we did
Not
last
Jet
year.
C's, jet.
Is there a motion?
1, 2, 3, 5, and 7.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and pay that insurance.
And we can talk about that amount, which is already, it's
Yeah, they're
what,
on there.
23,000 or something. I'll second that motion. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Fiscal officers report. Take your time.
Two things. We got $236,794.42 from JEDs 1, Gen Z 1 and Gen Z 2 for the second quarter. So that came in the mail on Friday. I have the back statement. I have a bill from X-Tech that I have questions on. We have 23 of the G3 GCC monthly, which is the Microsoft 365.
How much? Say that again?
23,
Correct, because we have the BZA boards, the zoning commission boards, all employees, trustees, fiscal officer. Each person needs an account to have the OneDrive and the email. We can have the G.
okay. Now,
So we can't just get an enterprise version of it where it just covers everybody? So that
But you pay per seat, and we have the government, that's the G3, the government version, but each seat is a separate charge. Now you can have just various emails are forwarded that are no charge, but if you have any email retention or OneDrive with the documents, that requires a separate license, and that was part of the contract.
Are we using those OneDrives?
We are, well, if anybody's using their computer or that, you should be able to, and the hope and what should be going on is like with the zoning commission, that there's a central shared drive where all their information, and that can be shared, that they can, so they don't have multiple emails of this document, that version, that, it's all in one place. So they should be using it, whether they all are, not sure. But again, that's with working with them and the oversight. Ms. Burkholder, you're over them. I don't know if you've had contact with them about that.
Yeah, I have, Mr. Evans. I'm more than happy to respond. They need training. I know you like to say that the president of the board is supposed to do all of this, but all three trustees, you can't say we're all equal and then say, but we're only going to have one trustee do all the work. So they need training, they need time, they need to have it explained, just like all staff do. And you're right, I think the administrator will be a great help in getting that. I'm not against the technology and the sharing of information, but I'll tell you, it has been chaos with X-Tech getting responses. No, you let me finish. I'm in the office. We asked him to set up the zoning office's email for the zoning inspector. He was told, the consultant was asked specifically how to set it up, and he disregarded it. So we have to call back. We're having problems with that. We're having a lot of problems. The fiscal officer's having problems. We try to get a hold of them. We want them to come in. We want some training. What about this? What about the bill?
Well,
so we're paying for services, which I'm not opposed to trying to up our technology here, but we're paying 23 times 32, and it's not even being utilized. So I understand now, if they just have an email account in the short term, does that cost the same amount?
you can't have an email and not have a seat and it retain the email.
Okay.
You can
Now the
forward
next
it,
question is, why is Mr. Walker, and
I'm not finished with my report.
you go ahead.
But-
Because you have the,
Yes, I got that. Okay, so there is a G5 e-discovery and audit for GCC. Okay?
correct.
what's that?
Okay, what is that?
That is, and we've had it before, of doing the document search and that for the
Okay.
email and OneDrive
And why
system.
is it just you and Ted Walker on there and we are paying for,
Well,
wait, 10 usages?
I didn't add Ted, so whoever added Ted and told them to add that
We didn't.
was
I
not
know we didn't
me.
add 10, but that's what we're paying for.
Well, they had to have gotten T. Walker from somebody, so who did
From
that?
who? From who?
Nobody.
Nobody.
They just knew Ted was
Oh,
hired?
yeah.
No, that's what,
We don't
I
know.
got this yesterday, or the day before yesterday.
Okay, well, I can tell you one of the issues with the
Okay.
technology is the communication.
Yes, the communication.
It's been, when Ms. Katuno, when you came on, the prior fiscal officer and I went through and said, okay, we're gonna do the fiscal at and this and that. You didn't want to, you changed it to yours, then you changed it back to that.
No.
All these things are not being thought through and told to them, but as far as communication from them, they are very responsive. I see numerous times where they're not copied the way you should copy Kyle, and then TS Consulting,
Kyle
and
tells me
then,
all the time, do not send me the email directly. Send it to TS.
and
whatever.
copy him.
No, do not copy him, he said.
Okay, well,
Okay, I don't care what's going on with
Okay,
Kyle.
the issue is that
We are-
people are directing them to do things that aren't being thought through, and if nobody on this board knows how Ted Walker got an email, I don't think they're watching our meetings and say, hey, we've got to set
Well,
this up now.
Mr.
No,
Evans.
that's not the problem. Why is he set up on the?
He shouldn't be.
Board GCC?
He should be on G3.
Okay, well.
So he
he's on-
has his
he's
own
on
thing. Now,
G3,
some other
G5,
emails-
And audit for GCC.
He shouldn't be.
Okay, well, nobody here
That's
goes
right.
to X-Tech.
Okay, well, I'll talk to Kyle and I'll get the information.
I have a question, Mr. Evans. Are you accessing the office emails?
As before, I can see the office
Yeah,
emails,
and are you
yes.
opening them?
Yes.
And are you
then
responding, and are you,
re-putting.
and are you responding to some of them?
The ones that are appropriate,
Oh, the one
yes.
that's perfect. Well, that's causing confusion as well, Mr.
How?
Evans. I have concerns with that.
How?
You seem to want to get into everybody's email and then.
No,
shoot
that
yourself
is
in
a
the foot.
general office email, and this was discussed prior. This isn't new information.
Oh, I just wanted to
And
clarify.
this is about proper oversight and finding the errors and finding out what's being ignored.
Okay, listen, let's go on.
But regarding X-Tech, I can talk to him
I'll
and
talk to
have
Kyle
it.
in a minute. You got that.
Fiscal officer, go ahead.
So is it okay if I discuss this with Kyle, these problems, and get it situated?
I think that makes more sense since you're dealing with the issues.
Okay.
Well, I would be against that because you don't have a handle on the
That's
technology.
fine, Mr. Evans.
and it
I don't-
caused some of this.
You're out of order.
Mr. Evans, I do have a handle on my technology. I am not technology illiterate, okay? I do know what I'm doing, okay? I do know that there's emails that are messed up. I'm not stupid.
Thank you.
That's what I would say.
Go ahead.
I have purchase orders to approve, and I have done the bank statement for August. So, at the end of August, we had $9.2 million. We got $883 in receipts. About $800,000 of that was from our real estate taxes. And we spent $203,000 last month. That's it.
Thank you. Is there a motion? You ready for the purchase?
I'm ready for the motion for purchase orders.
So move resolution 2024-044 to approve the purchase orders as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion, questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes?
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Next thing is the approval for the payments. I've had some of our employees be very upset that the payroll was put out on Facebook. So now I have changed how this purchase order or the payment listing is. I will no longer put each individual name, I'll just put a total for payroll.
Wow. Wonder why.
Yeah, that was posted on Facebook, and
That was on your site, Ms. Katuna.
That was not on me. It was.
The Etna Uncensored, that's
let me
your site.
finish, Mr. Evans. Mr. Evans,
Posted it.
I'm all for transparency too, but I've had complaints from the employees as well, and I don't feel it's appropriate. It's a public record, but to put all the information as to who gets paid what, simply because you can, does not create good morale.
Okay, and let's get to the facts right now. That was part of the agenda, which is part of the new agenda system, that when the PDF is there,
I
you can
understand.
click on it and see the links.
Right, and
Now, your Facebook site specifically showed those, Ms. Catuno.
Wait, Mr. Evans, okay,
You have
even if
the
it's
floor.
her site. She
She's
didn't
the
put it up there.
administrator. She's
She
the
didn't put it up
administrator.
there. No, people can put.
I didn't
I didn't want
I didn't blast it on mine.
It was taken from your page.
I didn't
Yes.
The
No.
the point has been made. Go ahead, Ms. Continuo.
So from now on, you will get the payment listing prior to put on the PDF without the payroll.
There you go. That fixes that.
And then at the meeting or later on, you can have, if you need it, it's public record. Because in case something happens with one of our employees, it's not.
That seems more prudent.
And then
Thank you.
regarding the payments, I do have a question about the mosquito control. I had asked you for
I sent that to you.
copy of all checks and invoices. I received one invoice and
You should have-
two checks,
You
but,
should-
but there was a third check for
We
$812.
voided that check.
No, they received it.
We voided that.
No, but my question is, and I spoke to Tiffany over at the health department,
Keep talking.
that you overpaid the second invoice after sending them the original
Correct.
336, paid
I made a
them,
mistake. I made a mistake. They
Well-
voided the check, they sent it back, so there was only 2 checks.
but
sent.
my question is, on the July,
I voided that.
it should have
check.
only been 476. We've got to be more careful about what we're spending, and especially as a board member with oversight, when I asked for all checks and invoices, you withheld the ones that you made the mistake on.
They're voided. They're no good.
They were still received and they were actually paid. They
They're
received,
not paid.
they received
They're
that,
voided.
they received that check on
Mr. Burkholder,
August 27th.
Mr. Evans, were you getting the medical mutual invoices sent to you for the life insurance? Yes or no?
I have no idea. I had some until it was transferred
Well, it's
to her. Is
No,
it, do you want
no,
to?
Let me finish.
Do
Let
you
me
want
finish.
to ignore this?
Let me
Where an
finish.
overpayment, and when I asked about it, the invoice and the check was specifically withheld.
Answer his question.
There is no invoice and there is no check. It's voided. They're gone.
You received an invoice to pay $812. That was in
I
July,
received-
correct?
No, I did not. I received something else that said.
But all invoices, and I spoke with Ms. Cotono about changing everything over, and she said everything was changed. She
Not
changed everything
medical
over.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough accusations.
You got the medical mutual for 3 months and withheld them for 3 months.
I did not.
That sounds familiar.
Too.
We've had that
I
happen
did
with our
not.
trash.
Ms. Cotono, you said you
Contract.
changed everything
Remember?
over,
I-
everything.
What do you like to do?
No.
Okay.
This is about accountability, and I'm concerned that
Motion to
the other
ratify
items
the
are not
payment
being
of the
addressed.
bills as shown on the payment listing. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I think we've had enough discussion. Mr. Evans, everyone is working very hard to make sure we get things correct.
But
And when
Mrs.
mistakes-
Burkholder, you are not.
Well, fine. I try to work with you if something's missed, but you refuse to work with anyone on this board.
That is incorrect,
It's
and
absolutely
even,
correct. So, if there's no further discussion to ratify the payment of the bills, I'll ask for the roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Okay, public comments, 2
Well,
minutes.
you skipped over the, and this is probably why it's important to have this properly listed here, motion to purchase the H2O grant equipment.
Oh,
Do
yes,
we want to
I'm sorry.
address that?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
I'm glad you caught that.
Well, it was properly listed in the agenda, I think we would have got it.
Yes, it is. That is a total of 32,000, let me see here,
$32,095.
$95, but I'd like to make a motion that we approve that for $35,000, not to exceed $35,000. And is there a second to that? And I'll
Second for
explain
discussion.
under discussion. Those estimates were in January of 2024. The grant really didn't get awarded. The award period was from June 1st, 2024 through 2025. So some of those may have increased according to the quote, and that's why we want to qualify that and make sure we have enough to order that equipment. There's 3 separate things. There's a cleaning system, a racking system, so you can wash down those trucks to get the salt off. There's another thing, that a sensor system that'll tell us on our bridges and some of our roads It's a subscription service that'll give us real time whether we need to put down salt or not. And then there's some special cutting blades for the snow plows as well. So 3 different vendors there. We have the vendors. We'll do separate, but that's the total amount. So any further questions?
Are we having others bid on it, or you just selected each different vendor and we're going?
I don't think we have to go out to bid, so I'll double check that, but I mean, that's where we got the quotes and that's what was in the grant.
Well, typically for grants and that, you don't get multiple quotes and that, but I know when I was looking at the system and implementing these kind of items, I received a variety of quotes and they were pretty different. So we might want to seek other vendors also.
I will check with the EPA on that. I was not responsible, by the way, and I'm not saying anything was done incorrectly when that grant was initiated, but I got involved at the tail end, and I believe the quotes were already submitted, but I'm more than happy to check that out if we need to go with other vendors. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
You're in favor.
Motion passes. Public comments, 2 minutes. Anyone? State your name, address, and I'll give you 2 minutes.
Steve Perkins at 7352 Palmer Road. Some of us do watch meetings. In fact, I was doing that on my way home from work, and that's why I stopped by tonight. I just wanted to say happy anniversary. In the 9/5 meetings, the September 5th meeting of last year, Mr. Evans similarly came in raising all kinds of cane about the doors being rusty. You can find that during the meeting at the 53-minute and 30-second mark through the 58-minute mark, stressing the importance of the timely repairs that must be done and beating then Trustee Johnson over the head about how nothing was being done with it and how he wanted to do everything since the beginning of his term and nothing was getting done about it, which sounds like a familiar thing here. So at this point, I know it's kind of odd to make a public record request in the middle of a public comment, but I'm going to make a request for all correspondence, both outgoing and inbound, regarding the repair of the doors at the Township Hall since 9/5 of 2023.
Sorry.
There's other things that go on all the time with this kind of stuff, but I just want to point out that nothing has been done with these doors since. It was specifically put to applause, I might add, that Mr. Evans would take care of that. He then reminded us in the 9/19 meeting of last year that he was getting the good quotes for that. And then right after that, oh, the weather was too bad and there weren't enough consecutive warm days, and I guess there still haven't been enough consecutive warm days because there still hasn't been anything done with them. Let's not forget about the railings too. So I just want to point that out, and I also don't think it's proper that there seems to be on Facebook posting of people's personal property and as well as our township employees and their salaries disseminated for public information, which that should not be publicly disseminated. So I can understand their consternation in that. I just want to point out that I'm getting this real feeling that the only thing going to be transparent is going to be these doors by the time Mr. Evans does anything with them.
Anyone else?
Kathy Johnston, 254 Trail East. Mr. Evans, what in the hell is wrong with you? I'm sorry, excuse my language, but you sit here and harass and harangue everybody. Don't shake your stupid head no. I am so sick to death of you, and so are these people. And everybody in here shivers when they hear the word transparent or what's the other one? Proper.
Shocking.
It is,
Okay.
It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. You harass these people. You don't try to work with them. You don't try to be kind. You don't try to show any sympathy, empathy, professionalism. You just sit here and wail on them. Yeah, go ahead. Keep shaking your head no. I wouldn't put you in charge of changing my litter boxes, much less social media, much less Facebook, much less anything. All you do is pick, pick, pick. Would you please, for heaven's sake, take a step back, look at yourself, and say, why? Why is everybody here so upset with me? Why? It's not because you want to do things right. It's not because you want to be transparent. It's because all you do is pick, pick, pick. And they work hard. Holly works her fanny off. Jackie does. Gary, Rod, people work. They pay attention. They care. They wouldn't be here, and they sure in the world wouldn't put up with all this harassment from you and your relentless Facebook and your relentless emails over and over. You know, in the real world, Mark, you'd get fired for this kind of harassment.
Yes, that's right.
In the real world,
That's right.
you would be fired
Yes.
for this kind of
That's
harassment.
right.
And I know my 2 minutes are up, and yes, you can say I'm standing here, you know, defending Gary, and yes, I am. I will stand here and defend him, because he gets his fanny out of bed every day and comes into this office because he
he
gives
does.
a rat's fanny. And does he deserve a medal for it? Is he perfect? Nope. But guess what? He cares, and he's
Yep.
here, and he's trying to make a difference. And he's not just nitpicking. And don't shake your head no at me. I don't know who you think you are shaking your head like that.
Amen.
Absolutely right.
Anyone else?
Absolutely right.
And just to let the board know, I've got 2 requests for brief comments from residents that couldn't make it.
Maybe I could just send in a video next time. John Hanson, Ridgewood Drive. The Lance asked if I wanted to file another request, and I said emphatically no. I had to say hell no. And then Kennedy was asked to file another thing, but he'd already seen that trip with Brown Township. So he was pretty suspicious about it, and that's when Kennedy called me. So I will say Gary worked with me after the court date, and you know, I can verify, you know, pretty much what Gary said here. I've had several conversations with him about getting this done, and the last holdup was making sure that the site, that it was issued per the site plan, and with the site plan that was approved by the BZA. And you know, Evans, you keep talking about the BZA wasn't represented when all actions here are from the board. It takes at least 2 of you to do something.
Yes.
So you keep saying, Gary didn't do this, Gary didn't do it. You're part of the board that you blame for all the failures all the time. You're like attacking a third of yourself. I mean, you got plenty to attack, so I guess that doesn't matter. And as far as the emails, we do suspect that you're in there nosing around at the emails unnecessarily, because we get pretty strange emails sometimes from the office, and it has your stuff on it, and you're sending it out over Holly's name. So you are. I mean, we have the emails. So
30
is that
seconds.
malfeasance, misfeasance, defeasance? It's all those feasance that you're always
It's just
talking
not
about.
cor- Nothing's been sent under Holly's name.
That's pretty funny. Okay.
20 seconds.
And as to the sign thing, as I recall, you roasting us on Facebook during the election on those properties when we had Trent signs out there. So, you know, your actions, you know, if anybody cared to dig back through all your Facebook crap that you say you never delete or anything, there's probably some more evidence there. So I will say one way to get Trustee Evans to give a short answer without a half-hour editorializing on everything is to swear him in court. It was all yes, no, and very contrite. He did try and blame everybody else a couple of times for his fault. His
Time
failure.
has expired.
All right.
Seconds.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Please state your name and address.
I got it.
I'll better check to make sure I got my name right. Is it correct?
Steve Wood, 6968 Palmer Road, Etna, Ohio.
If we have to continually come in here and listen to this bullcrap, I think we deserve, the people, the ones that have to listen to this shit, get something in return. I request that we get a popcorn machine and an alcohol vendor. Keep us calm.
Thank you. Anyone else?
All right, just briefly, with the board's pleasure, it's from Nicholas Weigel. He said, unfortunately, I won't be able to attend tonight's meeting to my daughter's 5th birthday. I would like to request that you personally read the prosecutor opinion as my public comments, if they have responded. My family feels this important and should be included in tonight's minutes so we can finalize any payment if approved in a timely manner. Again, I am unsure if the prosecutors have even responded, as I haven't heard back from Gary. I also want to say that I appreciate the board's effort to make this right and look forward to remaining current with the township's work by attending more meetings, both live and virtually, once adopted. And then from Thea Young, hello and thank you for your time and consideration. Because I am unable to attend due to the commitments, I would like to request that this email that contains questions concerning the new and or renewal of appointments for the JEDZ2 board be read and entered into the minutes of the Etna Trustee September 17, 2024 meeting. Per the August 23rd, 24 JEDZ2 agenda, all board members' terms expire October 19, 2024. Current Nicole Washington Chair, Candy Engel Vice Chair, Adrian Akins, Rosalind McKee, Jeff Haygood, and Mark Motter. Are JEDZ 1 and 2 appointments compensated? Question. Will there be an advertisement for JEDZ 2 appointments? Nicole Washington and John Carlisle terms on the TIRC end December 31st, 2024. Can someone serve on the Licking County TRC Tax Incentive Review Council and the JEDZ 2 board in accordance with the ORC 715.692? Also, is there an Etna residence per ORC requirement for appointment to JEDZ 2 concerning Etna's 3 appointments? Always thank you, Thea Young.
Yeah, I responded to that as well. I read that today. Okay. There's an executive session listed here, Mr. Evans.
I don't know if this go, but yeah, I move to go into executive session ORC 121.22 G1 to consider the dismissal of a public official, specifically Southwest Licking Community Water and Sewer District Etna appointee.
I'll second for discussion. Discussion, Ms. McKee?
Yes, I will not support us going into executive session to remove a board member for the Southwest Licking Water. We've been through this before, and that's caused some serious lawsuit. I would highly recommend us not to go into executive session regarding that matter.
Mr. Evans, will you be recording the executive session as you indicated in an email and have stated that you will record executive sessions now unless there's
No,
a
I don't have
security?
my recorder.
Did you previously record?
Yes, I did.
You did?
I informed you because you refused to, after the attack by Ms. McKee in the executive conference room, refused to put a camera in there for my safety and the safety of others. So until that was done, I indicated to you and you act surprised. However, it was just another email that you didn't read, but I do not have it with me, so no for today.
Well, I will correct the record. I did read your email, and I ignored it because you yourself admitted that that could cause, that if you did that, that could possibly be a public record and would actually violate the sanctity of executive session.
Correct.
So I no longer trust going into executive session with you to threaten that you're going to record everything simply because you didn't get a camera.
To protect my safety?
Yes, on an alleged attack, which you had no evidence to prove.
You were present.
No, I wasn't. Nope, not on the things that you came out and uttered to this board and the accusation.
And we-
If you review that tape, Mr. Evans.
we've even,
Hold
yes,
on,
because,
let me finish.
because
If
it
you-
happened
if you-
inside.
That's right, and I had already exited, as evidenced by the tape, Mr. Evans.
And it's not even, it's
No.
he makes up so much stuff.
So,
we've already-
no, we're gonna take a vote. You've got enough to say tonight. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
No.
Ms. McKee?
Capital N-O, no. I'm protecting this township.
Executive
We are
session
not going to be
fails.
sued again.
Well, I'm not going to be attacked again.
Okay, I'm going to answer trustee comments and announcements. First, I'd like to respond to Mr. Wagner and false accusations, quite frankly. We have looked into it. Do I have anything to report? I apologize if you didn't get copies. We'll be more than happy to make you copies of the photographs he presented. But we have looked into it. I called EMA and talked to them, the Emergency Management Agency for Licking County. They do have some control. You have to report storage of certain amount of chemicals. They referred me to the Ohio Homeland Security number. I've called it no less than 3 times. Staff has called it 2 or 3 times. All we ever get is an answering machine and no return calls. We've called the state fire marshal. I believe we've called the fire chief. We have looked into it. We've also pulled the files. We've also done research on iWorks, which reports all of our complaints and sign permits. We've checked the archive. There are numerous permits for sign on the property that Mr. Wagner is referring to. Numerous permits. There are also violations on there. And some of those permits go back to when Mr. Wagner was actually on that site. So the fact of the matter that we're doing nothing is a false accusation that I really resent, because we spent a lot of hours with the consultant, myself, the new zoning inspector, doing it right. You don't go out there and just shoot from the hip and issue a violation. So to make those comments, and yes, I have gone back and forth with Mr. Wagner regarding texts and everything. I don't know what the utility is of having a meeting until such time as we get more evidence on that. But what more can you do when you contact Homeland Security? And I'm not sure that the accusations being made are correct, but he has a complaint and we will follow up on it. As far as the prosecutor, I think you know, Mr. Evans, the prosecutor has received the request regarding the tire damage, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so they've received it.
And they responded. So
Okay.
I asked to put it on the agenda tonight, and you've refused twice now. Why aren't we addressing it since?
Well, what are we doing with the prosecutor? What's the response?
You didn't see the response?
I saw the response that they were looking into it and they didn't think that we specifically would be necessarily
No, if you
liable.
read the last line, are we waiving privilege to discuss it in open?
I don't know, do you want to?
Sure.
Is there a motion?
I move to make the response public.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the prosecutor said that we could be liable and we could not. It was a gray area, but ultimately, last line, it is up to the board.
Okay.
So I move to reimburse Mr. Nicholas Weigel $511.41 for his tire damage claim, and we can pursue the contractor or the bond agency on our own.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
For discussion, I'll second for discussion.
Second for discussion.
Concern is with, once we pay out one, we're gonna pay anybody else that shows up at our door. We had an allegation of last year, snow removal. A resident said that the snow hit his car or her car, scratched it. They wanted us to pay for their dent or scratches on their vehicle. Once you do one, you're gonna open up that door for many others to come through. So I will not be supporting that.
Well, I'd say that's a false premise, because we already pay claims when it's mailboxes or other damage.
That's
What we do is we investigate, and when we find it appropriate, and many times we deny it because there is no evidence, or it shows that it was the snow from the blade, not the actual blade, or it was weakened in that. But here he has made a very good case, provided the photos, provided that. I've seen the damage to the tire. It makes sense for the state of the construction. They actually live on the road that was being constructed. And I just, it's a false premise to say that if we address this claim that we automatically have to pay all other claims. No, you take them one by one. That's just common sense in business. So this doesn't open up to any other liability. And two, we could pursue the company. That is, even the prosecutor stated that, you know, a resident complaining, they can complain, I think, said like 100 times, but if they get a complaint from a trustee or the board, they might take it seriously. So I don't think that we should have the resident fight this fight. We had a similar situation at the fire department where the electrical contractor shorted out a bunch of units, AC units and that, and you didn't just say, it wasn't us, it was the contractor, it was that, seek that. No, we worked with them and got them to do that, but if not, we would have made them whole and then fight. It's not appropriate to have this resident hold the bag when they're being ignored by these entities.
Well, we've made considerable effort, and I've contacted Jim McClellan with Miller Brothers. I've also contacted CTL to try to, and to no avail. So it's not like the township hasn't made an effort. It's my understanding that there was no nexus made between the tire and the roadway where that puncture happened. There was no evidence that it was a piece of rebar or a metal or anything else. So is there any further discussion? A roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
No.
Ms. McKee?
No.
Motion fails.
All right, then, if you two are through, I've got other announcements. I'd attempted to bring up the mosquito contract here. Again, Mr. Burkholder is failing to even respond to the health department regarding mosquito treatment requests.
That's not
time. Mr. Burkholder, this is my time.
Okay.
Time and time again, you have falsely claimed that you haven't received requests, and that they are multiple emails requesting, and you just simply have not done so, Mr. Burkholder. And the health departments actually gave me access, sent me a copy of their treatment database, and again, only one street, Royalty Drive, which correctly so is being treated every week on your request, but all the other ones are being ignored. I just spoke to a resident the other day about how terrible it is in his neighborhood, and on Sycamore Drive with all those tires there, it was treated once or twice, then ignored. This is another failure of communication and follow-through that needs to be addressed. And again, with the administrator coming on, a lot of this will be taken care of, but to wait till then is just, it's not proper. Regarding the website hosting, after the website went down, we initiated with Robin Tech to have it transferred. They're migrating the website this week. If we want to have them perform any kind of minor changes or whatever, they can do that afterwards. So I'll alert the board when that is completed, and then we can discuss any needed changes after that. There has been a lot of discussion about Halloween. When Halloween's coming up, so people can plan. Are we, again, recommending following Morpsey's plan for that date, or what are we doing as a board?
What have you done in the past?
This board in the past has followed Morpsey, which states that if Halloween is on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, or Sunday, I think, they celebrate it that Thursday. If it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I think it's on the actual day. So this year, Halloween's on Thursday, October 31st. So Morpsey, that would be celebrated that day. I don't know if we want to make an official announcement. Some neighborhoods like my New England Acres, we do it the Saturday before, so New England Acres will be on October 26th, that Saturday. Do we want to make a motion officially that the township follow Morpsey on Thursday?
What have we done in the past?
Follow Morpsey.
That's fine. So moved.
It's Thursday, October 31st.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Thank you,
Thank
Nina.
you.
So moved. Second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And one item on the trash administrative fee, we've had a lot of confusion with their announcements going out saying that Etna residents are part of the administrative fee if they don't elect the automatic payments. That's incorrect, so other postcards have been sent out. I have found out that there's a select few residents that actually were charged that administrative fee. I've copied, I believe, the board on this, and Wind Waste is doing a forensic investigation through every account to ensure that all residents are properly coded as being Etna residents and that they should not be charged that fee. One resident was being charged monthly when it should be a quarterly charge. So that contact is going through all that. I've tried to help them out by getting a list of voter registration of all Etna residents to kind of compare, and they're going to go through individually. And I think Holly's been made aware that if anybody calls about the fee or anything like that, to include me, and I can work with that individual to hopefully finally clear that up. But to make it clear, nobody on the Etna trash contract is to be paying that fee.
When's that contract up?
We just renewed it in March. It's a 3-year contract. However, with the issues, if the board pleases, we could possibly look at if these are any kind of violations of the contract or that. I think one of the difficulties, again, what was done before with paying everybody's trash at the last part of December and invoices being sent out, then being told to be ignored because we're paying it, but then we're not paying people's late fees, anybody that was late, and then they get another bill. It wasn't handled properly, and
Do we have details on that contract? I know there's a resolution where
I've got a copy. I can send you the copy, but I think, I mean, you would think we would have it in the office, but I'll forward another copy of it. And then again, about the doors, that's been a popular comment. I had addressed that at a previous meeting. During the election, Mr. Burkholder said, do not address that, we'll have the administrator do it. He claims that, I don't remember that, but that's why, Mr. Burkholder, these are my comments.
Okay.
And I'll respond with, I got 2 of the estimates, but it was within winter, and we're not gonna pay for somebody to tenant heat and all that. And then come the new year, there's quite a bit on the plate to deal with in rusty doors. I don't know, all these attacks are coming from people that try to be a trustee and didn't, and just want to attack. However, even Mr. Hansen, his claims about Facebook saying this, I mean, he's got an entire site with cartoons and graphics, and it's pretty interesting to see the complaint from him on that. Even, like I said, Stephen Wood, who's made physical threats before. So this is concerning, and when I asked for a camera in a room where previous actions have been taken, and that's a real concern and has been ignored. Regarding
Mr.
Wagner.
No, let me correct that right now before you get too far.
No,
it's not being ignored. It's not. We're not putting a camera in there.
Yeah.
Period.
So is he wearing?
So wait. So I requested of the board a camera, but you decided. Did you do it outside the meetings? That
No,
member's not gonna be in
decided
it? You said we're not gonna do it. Did you and Ms.
At least
McKee?
I'm not going to, no, we never talked.
You said we.
Oh, that,
Excuse me.
The board.
I
So
would never
anyway,
support the camera.
regarding Mr. Wagner,
'Cause
it is a real concern about the chemicals. So are those chemicals okay per our zoning out there or not? That's one thing.
They're not addressed in the
You,
zoning.
you failed to address, so then it's okay?
No, we don't know. You're the chemical
So,
expert.
but what, so the question is, 3 meetings ago, he gave you information, you claimed you gave it to me, you didn't. You still refuse to give it to me.
No, I
You
don't.
say you will, it's been a month, these are the lack of follow-throughs. And if you wanna know, since we're talking about it, of who was frustrated with you as an attorney, Brody Conover, because of your lack of response. And do you wanna waive public, or you already said you don't wanna waive,
No, it's a pending case.
pending case, but afterwards, let's do it, because it's shocking of the level of non-response, of lack of communication that is harming this township. And regarding meeting minutes, Mr. Davis mentioned that we should have a work session. No, all that's required is to get it to us in time so we could properly review it. So we forced through 4 or 5 of the minutes, but then tabled the last one. So I guess it's okay that we rushed through some, but, we didn't have time for the others. I just think that there's a proper way to do things, and it's not being done, nobody's being responded to, and just like the mosquito contract. We're paying the bills, it was improper. Having it treated, what wasn't responded to.
Let him
And
wind down.
it's a mess because things aren't being addressed, and no matter how much time you spend in the office, you're not responding to people, you're not getting stuff done, and there were previous complaints when you're in the office, and all I hear is, is Mark bugging you, is Mark, I'm actually trying to help. I don't ask people to print things for me to waste their time. I can print my own things, I can do that. I ask, what can I do for you?
Let him finish up. Anything else, Mr. Evans? Anything else?
No, I'm just looking forward to October 7th.
I know you are.
I would like to bring a motion for the HRA, which is health reimbursement account. And just so you know, Mr. Evans, that is not an additional benefit. We've already established it, it's already in place, it's just how we are going to use it. Nothing changes, it's exactly what's in our account. And we have a fiscal officer that has issues with trying to get her dental work and some eyeglasses. And I agree with her, I concur, dental work is not cheap anymore. So if we can use our health reimbursement account the way we choose, and it's a matter of just talking to Michelle that they can switch it over. It's nothing that we have to do, that's just the board, we just have to get approval from the board. If we get it approved, we can make a motion to make it happen, and by next week, it'll be done. And just so you know, that is not true, that it's an additional benefit. No, it's not, it's already been allocated to us individually.
So when you use the $6,000 and you're over you're done with your $6,000 deductible,
Right,
you have to pay out of pocket.
correct, correct.
So
So,
if you choose to use your HRA for eyeglasses or dental, you can.
right. So if you, your $6,000 goes
Stop
towards
shaking your head, Mark.
your $6,000 goes towards your deductible.
Can-
But if you end up spending it on glasses, dental work, whatever,
Right.
and if you have to have some major surgery, you still have to meet your deductible.
Can we put that on the next agenda?
But first off, there's HRA and HSA.
Correct.
You guys are throwing around terms like they're interchangeable, they're not.
They
They're totally separate.
We know
We
that.
got the
We understand
HSA.
that.
We know that. That's
Right, the
$2,700.
HSA is $2,700 and the
But we can
HRA is
take-
for that. But this is actually, would be an increase in benefits because what you
No, it's
want
not.
is the township to pay through the HRA,
No.
the deductibles for
That's not
No.
the eye and the dental that were not previously covered. The HRA was
No.
only for the medical when we moved to the high deductible plan. So it is an increase, but as I said before, if you choose to, if you choose to use the HSA, you can use the HSA for anything you want.
Correct.
But if you go into if you start getting medical expenses, you have to use that first.
Correct.
So if you have zero medical expenses, you can use $2,700 on dental and eye, as much as you want. However, if you have $3,000 in medical, you use that up, you can't use the HRA or anything else for medical. Everything's paid, and again, the HRA is to cover the high deductible and out-of-pocket for medical. We pay, and you pay, 0 for medical, 0 for dental, and 0 for eye. No deductibles for medical, no out-of-pocket, no co-insurance, it's something that none of these people, unless they're maybe in an elected office, have. And I actually am shocked that we would try to say we want more.
We're not getting more. It's already allocated.
No, it's not. That's for medical. You want to put it on the other insurance.
Okay, this could go on for quite a while, so can we have this on the next
Let's
agenda?
get it on the next agenda.
Bring the facts and the details, probably in a written format from there.
We're gonna need a prosecutor's opinion.
Yeah, you probably will, so.
And that's something Jackie can do because this is in her preview, yeah.
Anything else, Ms. McKee? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Stands adjourned. Thank you.